Hey everybody. So today I want to take a look at Mika Zibanejad and kind of the tale of two seasons that he has had this year, comparing the start of his year to about the past month where he has just taken off and started to look like the player that we were expecting him to be this season. And then as Mika Zibanejad has taken off, the New York Rangers have taken off, and they are now just a few points out of a playoff spot in the East Division. But before we begin fully, I just want to say, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It really helps out a lot and is greatly appreciated. But let's get into it here. Mika Zibanejad, the whole hockey world was ripping on this guy for the first month and a half of the season because, and rightfully so, he was terrible. He had an absolutely abysmal start to the year. This was a guy that scored 40-plus goals last year. I think had 75 points. Was a star player in the league last season. And then this year was terrible to start the year. And the New York Rangers as a whole were pretty bad to start the season. They really, really struggled to get out of the gate. They had the whole Tony DeAngelo situation, and it looked like it was going to be a throwaway year for the New York Rangers. That's not the case at all anymore, because in the month of March, the Rangers have climbed the standings. They've gotten significantly better, and Mika Zibanejad's play is a big reason why, because he has gotten significantly better and has started to look like the Mika Zibanejad that we expected to see this season. So I want to take a look here at Mika Zibanejad's numbers more closely. This is from January 13th, when the season started, through the last day of February. First month and a half of the season, Mika Zibanejad was 8th on the team in points. He played 19 games. He only had 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. This was a guy who was a better than point per game player for the Rangers last season. Had 6 points in their first 19 games. He was absolutely abysmal. There's no doubt about it. But look what has happened over the past month now. So if we take these metrics and switch them to through just the month of March, March 1st through March 26th, which is where we are at right now, and hit get stats, Mika Zibanejad, for the past 26 days, has led the New York Rangers in points with 20 in his past 13 games, including 8 goals and 12 assists, and that has 2 6-point games in there against the Philadelphia Flyers, where he had 3 goals and 3 assists in each of the past 2 games against Philly. So Zibanejad has gone from 6 points in his first 19 games to 20 points in his last 13 games. This is the Mika Zibanejad that we were expecting to see this season. And now, if you want to look at his season numbers as a whole, we go from January 13th through March 26th. Zibanejad is now 4th on the team in points with 26. He's a +5. He's not quite back to a point per game yet, but he is getting significantly closer there. And that is absolutely remarkable, given the fact that in his first 19 games, he only had 6 points. So this has really been a tale of 2 seasons for Mika Zibanejad. And his past month has been significantly better than his first 6 weeks or so of the season, where he only had 6 points. So kudos to Mika Zibanejad for turning his season around and getting things on track. And as Mika Zibanejad has gotten things on track, if we go over here and look at the standings in the East Division, the New York Rangers now are in 5th place. They have passed the Philadelphia Flyers. They were below New Jersey at one point. They've long passed them. And they are only 3 points behind the Boston Bruins here. Now, a caveat to that is that the Bruins have 3 games in hand over the Rangers, so that gap is actually a little bit wider because of the games in hand. But at face value, they're just 3 points out of a playoff spot right now behind the Boston Bruins. So The New York Rangers have really done a good job of turning their season around and getting things back on track this year. And they've playing a big role in that has been Mika Zibanejad turning his season around and helping get the Rangers back on track. Because for the past month, Mika Zibanejad has looked like the leader and the player that he was expected to be this year for New York. He was not that for the first 6 weeks, but he's gotten things on track and he has looked significantly better. So I just wanted to give some props to Zibanejad and the Rangers because it was a very rough start to the year for them. A lot of people, even myself included, were kind of counting them out early in the season, and they obviously got off to a really, really bad start, but it's not about the first half when you can make up for it in the second half. And now that we're getting into the second half of the season, it certainly looks like the Rangers are a team that could potentially make a run for a playoff spot and try and get themselves into the postseason. They're not that far out of it now. And that's pretty incredible considering how we were talking about this team a month ago versus how we're talking about this team now. And then Mika Zibanejad individually has played a big role in that, and I think deserves a lot of credit for not getting too down on the bad start to the season and getting his game back on track and being the player that he's supposed to be now. And if he can continue that the rest of the season and the Rangers get into the playoffs, nobody is going to remember the lousy start if he ends up being a point-per-game player this season. So just wanted to touch on those two things. Shout out to Zibanejad. Shout out to the Rangers getting themselves back into things here. And I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. And they're a young team that obviously went through some turmoil at the beginning of the year, but they seem to be getting it on track now. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, donation link, and channel memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.